Well, it's been a while since I last uploaded a video, so I thought I'd better put this one up to get you back in touch and see what's been happening. To be honest, I haven't been out on the allotment much because I've been doing other jobs around the house. I've been back out on the allotment, say, the last 2 or 3 days because the stuff, what is growing out on there, is starting to come to fruition and it's time to start the harvesting. So we'll start off in the greenhouse and I'll just show you what's in here. The tomatoes, we're more or less coming to the end now. They've cropped really well. You've got the Crimson Crush in there, the Nagina there, and the Sweet Million along here. The Autopot, I can't recommend this enough. In fact, I think next year I'm going to be taking the quad grows out and adding more Autopots in here. I think I've only filled the tanks up twice, and partly now the hot weather we've had, they've done really well. So that's the tomatoes. Down in the borders, I'll be back. The peppers have done reasonably well, although I could do with a little bit of weeding. Surprisingly, we haven't had no problems at all with slugs. I've read on the internet that some people had the crops destroyed and that, but touch wood, we've been quite lucky. On the back here, we've got the cucumbers. They're more or less finished now. These are the mini munch, done really well, but as I say, I think next year I'm going to be using the Autopots rather than the quad grows. At the end of the year, these seems to go yellowish, and it's not lack of feed because I'm feeding them on a regular basis. One surprise I did have on here is the melon, and as you can see, that's a decent size one there. Can't remember the name of it now. I'll put it underneath in the sign on the bottom and you'll see what it is. But that's produced a lot of flowers, but it's produced 2 fruits. There's that one there, and there's another one I'll show you a bit later on. While we're down there, I'll just quickly show you the aubergine. That's another nice one. This one's called Black Beauty, although it looks a bit of a purpley reddish tinge. I've had 2 off these, but this is the other one, the last one that's left, and I'm going to leave that, see how big it will grow. Back over the other side, we've got some more cucumbers again. A couple of flowers on, but nothing to write home about. The peppers in there, done quite well. Not as good as the ones in the allotment, in the garden greenhouse. But the ones down on the side here, these have done extremely well. Still got lots. And what I've done, I've had the window wide open and the door open, and I've just looked after the self. As you can see, the Sweet Million still got lots and lots of fruit on. Grapevine, neglected them really. I haven't even thinned them out, picked them or nothing, so nothing's going to happen with them this year at all. So that's what's happening in the greenhouse. I'll just take it outside. Looking at the parsnips, I thought I'd lost these completely. There's just a few little sprigs and seedlings sticking up. However, I've managed to salvage 4, I think, and they seem to be doing okay. I've taken the mesh cover off the top and the stems are thickening up, so we're going to see what we get at the end of the year. Just quickly show you in the carrot tank. I've already started harvesting these. It's a bit early for me, but I've only grown the 1 tank. Nevertheless, what we've had so far seems to be okay. And that's typical of what we're getting. Nice sweet candle these are. Nice even size, nice and clean, and no sign of the carrot root fly. A quick look next door, and we've got these Savoys, which I sowed as a bit in desperation after I'd lost all my other crops, and they've done extremely well. This is a variety called Winter King, I think it is, and I think I've lost one, that's all, to slugs, but looking on now, that don't look too bad, and I can actually see 1 or 2 are hearting up. So that's the Savoy for this year. And across these 2 beds here, the flowers have done extremely well. There's a bit of a mix of everything, dahlias and whatever. If I can remember what I've put in here, I'll put a little ticker along the bottom so you can see the different varieties. But in the end of this one is the courgette. and that's given us quite a lot of plants, although the last one I took off was a bit of a monster. In this bed here there's a butternut squash, and that's been disappointing. Although it's gone off like a triffid around the allotment, there's very little fruit to show. I think there's only one or two, and them are, as we say, into September now. I don't have much hope for them, but nevertheless, so I'm very pleased with the way the flowers have done. Quick look inside the Vegepod, and that's almost coming to an end now. Some of these lettuce have gone over. Still got some decent ones in here. Here's some ramrod onions here, and as you can see, they've been left in a little bit too long, but we still can eat them. And we've got some peppers. They've got fruit on. Whoops. Yeah. All of these have got fruit on, as you can probably see over there. So then we're ready for picking. It's all still moist in here, and I think I've only watered this about twice this year, so the old wicking system still works well in here. The potato buckets are still holding out, although there's more weeds than anything else in there now. I just harvest these as and when I feel like it, and up to date we've had decent crops out, although I haven't filmed anything. I don't know if I've put anything on the other social medias, but next time I empty a bucket I'll share it with you. Another problem that's hounded the site this year is the reappearance of the mole. I've got him a lot, more or less in the one area. As you can see, he's been digging quite a lot. Go around this corner as well, and back here. A lot of other plot holders have got the same problem. Interesting to see where I've got the mole square as the buzzers, there's no sign of activity, so I'm going to have to start moving those around the allotment site. The runner beans have more or less run their course now. I've had a nice crop off these. These did crop early. When I put these out, whizzed up the canes, and I was looking out on the allotment, and quite a few other frames out there. I'd only got the beans that high. So these are finished. The stuff what's on here now, I'm letting dry out, and I'm going to be using these for seed next year. It is dropping cold at night now. I've noticed the last couple of nights we've had 7 and 8 degrees, and also if you look around, the trees are shedding the leaves, which is for the end of August, early September. That's quite early, so who knows, we might be in for a bad winter. The fruit trees this year have done extremely well. There's one or two little pears left, and looking at the bottom here, it's a tragic shame here that you see the windfalls, and believe it or not, these here are just a little tiny portion of what the crop I've had off here. I've probably give, I don't know, quite a lot of pounds away of pears, and these are what I've just managed to salvage before they do drop off. I'm going to put these in the garage in a cool place just for a bit and decide what I'm going to do with them. But very, very pleased with the crop this year. And I say, I've left them, the windfalls down there, the blackbirds seem to be enjoying them. Quicker look at the celery, and with the welcome rain we've had just recently, this has really thickened up. So I'm a quick look inside, and some of these are probably ready for picking now. I just noticed here I've got a stray tomato. Can't believe that's fed its way right the way up through the crop. Nevertheless, the celery's thickened up. I didn't put this in till quite late actually, and I don't have much out, but two varieties in here. There's Latham Self Blanching and one called Pink Blush, I think it is. I'll put the names underneath anyway. Believe it or not, amongst this pile of weeds is me crop of seed onions for this year, and remarkably they've done quite well. I was going to weed this, but what I'm going to do instead is actually harvest the onions, and then I'll do the weeding a bit later on. The plan for the onions is just to lift them up and put them into the coal frame over there and let them dry out for a few weeks. I've still got my leeks here, and obviously they'll be staying put, so I'll weed carefully around there. But I say it'll make weeding this a lot easier once the onions are out, and then I can cover this bed with the black plastic. you what, I can't believe how much trouble we've had here with chickweed. Most of the beds are just absolutely plastered with it. Comes up easy, but it seems to like choke the plants. Almost done with getting these out now. And what I'm going to do is once I finish that off, I'm going to just tidy these up, just get the dirt off and any really loose skins, and then I'll put them to dry. I'm not going to like clean them up completely, so just get the dirt off. I'll take them right the way up, and then when they get to the leaks, I'm going to be weeding them thoroughly because they are being choked as well. A quick look at the garden border. I did thin these out at the beginning of the year, and I'm so glad I did, because as the plants have grown, they've popped the reds up different colours, and it's had a nice contrast. I've actually put some tomatoes in here as well. These are a Crimson Crush, a bit lighter than the ones out on the allotment, but even so, they're just starting to turn now, and some nice sized bunches. I've got about 4 or 5 plants dotted around. So the rose on there, that one there is called a Silver Wedding, Sir David Austin. And I've got another one over the other side. And most of the roses in here, if you give them a prune after the first flowering, you do get a second flush. Marigolds, they've gone a bit haywire, they're a bit of a bully. And I think next year I'll think twice about growing these. But even so, it's a nice splash of colour in contrast with, say, the dahlia and got all the astrantias as well. Earlier in the year, before I've filmed this, obviously, we had the clematis. There's 3 or 4 varieties, and right at the back there was delphiniums that they've gone over as well. But even so, say these dahlias are a nice colour. If I remember the name, I'll put it underneath. It's a new variety that I got from King Seeds this year. And straight round onto here, we can see the baskets. There's 4 in total. There's 1 here, 1 there, and 2 on the back wall. Normally I'll just put 2 begonias in, but as a change I alternated 2 begonias with 2 fuchsias, and as a dot plant in the middle I put a geranium, and it's worked quite well, so I might be repeating that next year. Just have a look at the border over this side. That rose we was on about, the Silver Wedding, that's the one there. I think they've stopped actually producing this now, but again, that's on its second flush. Some nice big scent. Nice size heads on there. On the back, the Japanese maples, they've started to actually go over now, because on the edge of the leaves it's a tinge, and that's down to the night temperatures, which have been dropping. As I said before, we've had some low temperatures in single figures. But light blooming here is the agapanthus. Nice contrast with the yellows of the dahlia. More dahlias here. And over here we've got a sunflower. This is a multi-head, just starting to form, although whether we're going to get any flowers this late to the season, I don't know, but if it does, it'll be a nice flush into the autumn. Into the greenhouse and the garden now. The peppers have probably been my best crop I've ever had of these. They've done exceptionally well. And I put it down to the wicking system, not because I've made this. The quad grows very, very similar as well, where it'll bring the water up through capillary matting. And I think the peppers actually like that method. I did say earlier on in the greenhouse that I was going to swap the quad grows out for auto pots. That's purely for growing cucumbers, because I don't think they tend to like that. So I'll be putting them in the auto pots next year. But regarding the quad grows, highly recommended for doing the peppers. I've got some whapping fruits on there, big uns. There's a nice yellow one there. Just reach over the back, there's a red one there. And every plant has produced quite a lot of fruits. We've already picked a lot. In fact, some of them are starting to go over now, so I'm going to have to get our skates on and get these in. But overall, peppers have done really well. The plan was to, say, give these a fairly decent clean up, get all the dirt off and the loose skins, and pack them away in the crates. Unfortunately, it started raining now, so I don't really want to get these wetter than they need to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move them as is into the coal frame, get the glass lights on the top, and at least that'll keep them dry. plenty of airflow, and I can tidy them up at my leisure. Quickly show you, the rain's coming. We've managed to get them in. There's the long red Florence. These are the mixture of the white ones, which are the tough ball and vento. Bit of my garlic and elephant garlic from last year. A few more long red Florence. And there's my shallots, which I haven't sorted yet, but I'll get round to doing them. So that's the frame there. Get the glass lights on there to give them some protection. Well, I didn't quite get the covers on before the rain came, but never mind, I'll soon dry out. I'm safely tucked away in there now, so with a bit more sunshine they'll dry out a bit quickly. The bed's got weeded for the first pass, needs doing again, but at least the leeks can see daylight now. That's about it for this one. Many thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.